everyone, and welcome to Chasing Growth. The purpose is to encourage Christian leaders to get better. When you get better, everybody wins. And as Christian leaders, we have a responsibility, a calling to grow, to get better, so that people around us can get better too. Today, I want to talk about the humility in the life of the leader. This is very important because our nature is not to be humble. Our nature is to gain. Our nature is about us. Our nature is to what can we get out of this? That's our nature. And I can see it in my elementary child. He's in elementary child. He's in elementary school, and he always telling me stories about this kid fighting to who's holding the door, or who's first in the line, or who's helping the teacher with that. And they're fighting because they want to be known, they want to be there. It's about them, right? And as a child, that's expected. But when you grow up and you're a leader, it's expected to you to be humble. But again, it's not our nature. So what do we do? What do we do? How we can stay humble? How can we stay humble when we have the title of leader, when we're the boss, when people is opening doors to us, when people is listening what we say? How can we stay humble? And the reality is that we have to do some practice. We have to practice, and I'm going to give you a list of things that you have to practice to make sure you stay humble, to make sure that you stay humble and your leadership can be impactful. So let me start with this. Are you listening? Are you listening? And the reason this is so important to me, and that's why it's number one, is because many years ago, I put a bunch of people in a room and I asked them, what am I doing wrong? Criticize me. No consequences. Tell me whatever. And many of them, what they told me was, you're not listening. Now, in my mind, I was like, why are you saying that? I'm always listening. I know what you say. I know what you were trying to say, etc. But my behavior probably didn't show it. Because when they were talking, I was thinking how to respond, how to fix it, how to make it better, etc., which is nothing wrong. But the reality was I was not listening. So the question is, are you genuinely listening? Are you genuinely valuing people's opinions and ideas? Because this is the thing. Sometimes people will come and say things, and I'm like, man, this guy don't know what I'm thinking, when they're saying what they need to say, I'm thinking, they don't know what they're saying. They don't have the experience. I have been here for a long time, etc., etc. So, in other words, I didn't value what they have to say. And somehow, even I can pretend that I was listening, they knew I was not. So the question is, are you genuinely listening? This is a practice. This is something you can practice. You can practice and ask yourself, are you genuinely listening and valuing people's ideas and opinions and comments and whatever they have to say? Do I really value what they're saying? Or you pretend you're listening? If you're pretending you're listening, let me tell you, people know that. So you have to practice listening. The second thing you have to do is self-awareness. Now, this is so interesting because so many leaders, and this, let me tell you this. When I have two teenagers too, and many times the conflict is not what they say, but how they say it. And many leaders struggle with the same thing because it's not what they say, it's how they say it. It's not the email or what they wrote in the email, is how that sound. And they're not aware. They don't have self-awareness, and they think they're saying something, and maybe what they're saying is true. Maybe what they're writing on the email is true. But the how, the where, the context is missing, and they're not self-aware. If you want to become a humble leader, you have to become self-aware. How you become self-aware, and this is something that we can talk a little more maybe another time. You need to have people around you telling you the truth about you, even when it hurts. Telling you the truth about the things that you say and how you say it. Because if you don't have somebody, listen, many leaders, because they like this, they surround themselves with good politicians, with people who tell them what they want to hear, people who tell them good press about them, people who tell them everything is great, even when they do something stupid, and the people who justify you when you do something stupid. And that's the worst type of people you can have around. If you want to become a self-aware leader who says things and doesn't make a mess when they say it, even when the things are truth, you need to have great people around you to become self-aware. And that's a practice. Even somebody who's not like you, somebody who thinks different than you, somebody who responds different to situations, that person is valuable to you because that person can tell you what you're doing is wrong, or what you're saying is wrong, or what you said is right, but you're saying it the wrong way, and you can grow. You have to become self-aware to become humble, a humble leader. Um, how are you treating people? Are you treating people with dignity, honor, and respect? And it sounds great when I say it, but are you genuinely doing it? Do you see the next person, the person who's under you that doesn't have the title? Do you respect them? When I remember years ago, I was working in a place, and what was very sad is they will talk about these things, but you will walk, the person could be giving a speech about this, and then you will walk by them, and they will completely ignore you. But then when the next person they were, a leader or they have a title, they will stop and say hi. And I saw this, and I experienced this, and I always thought it's so wrong. I will never do that. Are you treating people with dignity, honor, and respect? How can you do it? Well, let them speak first. You open the door for them. You ask them how you can serve them. You remember their names. That's the thing. Remember people's name. How in the world you call yourself a leader and you don't know the names of the people who are under you, or people who is close to you? Remember their names. One thing that I learned years ago: not only remember their names, remember what is important to them. Remember what is important to them. What is important for that person? Ask them how the family is doing. Ask them if you just don't, if you just completely superficial about it, what you're gonna do? You're gonna mix up. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna mix stories because you don't really care. So you're gonna start talking about the dog of somebody that don't have a dog, and you're gonna start asking them about the children that don't have children because you just don't care, and you just ask things just to have a conversation. No, to treat people with dignity, honor, and respect, you have to really care about them and care about what they care. If not, don't be a leader, because if that's the only way to stay humble. And I'm not saying that you have to remember all the names of people in the company, but if you have interaction with them to some point, you should know them. You should ask questions. You should care. Show appreciation. So many leaders. Oh, I used to have a boss, and this was ridiculous. I used to have a boss. Every time the appreciation type of thing will come up, we say, "Well, but they're getting paid. They're getting paid well." I get it. I get it. People get paid, but it takes nothing. It takes you nothing to humble yourself and appreciate the people who's actually doing the work. Leaders, listen. If there's no people doing the work, you're leading absolutely nothing. You're leading absolutely nothing. So show appreciation. To show appreciation, there's no need for money. Sometimes can be a little note, a card, can be a conversation. You call somebody in and say, "Hey, I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you for the good work that you do, for showing up early, for working hard." Can you do that? If it's hard for you to show appreciation, you're not practicing being a humble leader. And again, being humble doesn't come natural. Are you decreasing so others increase? And this is very important because I have seen it. This is funny. Like somebody's talking and the leader walking, and the leader doesn't know what's going on, but somehow they have to have the last word and they have to say something. Listen, if it's okay for other people to have the spotlight, it's okay for others to answer questions. It's okay for others to be right and have the ideas. It's not about you. So the question is, are you declining? Are you decreasing so others increase? This idea, for example, if this idea make you uncomfortable, what I'm gonna say next, you have to deal and wrestle with it and go ask God to help you. Who is replacing you? Who is taking your job next? Are you preparing somebody for that? If you struggle with that, you're struggling with your ego. You're having a hard time being humble, because that's the way it should be. Why not? So in other words, we decrease so other increase. When was the last time that you apologize? See, if you haven't apologized, it's not that you have to be a dummy and doing all wrong things all the time. But when you messed up, I'm not talking about being incompetent and doing all the time stupid things and wrong things. No, I'm not talking about that. If you have that problem, you have that problem. You're incompetent. But I'm talking about doing something wrong or saying something wrong. How hard is for you to apologize? What I have learned is that when people have a hard time apologizing, it's because they have a hard time believing they can be wrong. If you're a Christian leader, you should know that we, in some way, we all suck. We're not good. We're bad. So apologizing shouldn't be a problem. Apologizing should be so, and I don't want to say easy, but it should be almost a way of living that we don't have a hard time apologizing, because you know what? Somebody had to come and die for me because I suck. I need to be saved from myself. So, oh, you think I did something wrong? You're probably right. I did it. Not fighting it, taking ownership of it, and apologize. Thus, I want to give you an example. Do the difficult work. Years ago, I had the opportunity to be in a retreat. I don't know what it was, and my obligation at that retreat was to clean bathrooms. I'm like, okay, so I clean bathrooms, and I was, every time I do anything, I always think nobody gonna do it better than me, and I clean bathrooms like crazy. I did my best. I remember cleaning bathroom, and some people, probably will hate to do that, but I did it because it was needed. It was necessary. Somebody had to do it. I did it. I didn't send anybody else to do it. I did it, and I was proud of doing it. And one other thing that happened at the end, this guy approached me and said, he said, you know what? I never imagined you cleaning bathrooms, and that stayed with me because I don't know what image I was giving. The cleaning bathroom was below me because I don't think it should be. Um, but I'm glad that he saw it. And so, as a leader, I want to tell you, sometimes you may want to do the thing that nobody else want to do. You may want to stay and clean up. Maybe sometimes you want to take the trash out. And let me tell you, as not only as a leader in a public space, ministry, or church, as a leader in your house, men, as leaders in your house, are you humbling yourself to such a way to do maybe what nobody else want to do? Clean the bathrooms, clean the floors, clean the house. If you're a leader in your home and you think that's somebody else's job, like your wife, let me tell you, you're not humble. You're not humble at all. So these are practices, things that we need to practice as leaders to stay humble. And again, the whole idea is to decrease so others can increase. This idea that others are more valuable. This idea that the next one is more important. Finally, the last thing that I wanted to ask you to practice, open the door for other people. All the time. All the time. You know what? This is such a good thing to practice everywhere. And what is amazing to me these days when I teach my boys to do it, especially to ladies and to older people, I said, they open the doors. People are so amazed that we will open the door for somebody else, and sometimes they stop and say thank you, like we have done. We just give them $1 million just because we open the door to people. You show value to people. So these practices is how you can stay humble, and there's so many other things that you can do. And one other thing that you have to do as a Christian leader, and I don't know how to say this, because sometimes I said this, and of course it's the thing that we have to say, of course it's the thing we have to do as Christians, but let me tell you, how do you start your day? It matters. Do you start your day standing up or on your knees? Do you start your day standing up like you can handle it? You start your day just running out of the door because you're in control? Or you can start your day on your knees, recognizing every day as a leader, as a father, as a mother, as a Christian leader, as a pastor, that God is in the throne of your heart. That's the beginning. So you can practice all these things, but if you're a Christian leader, you're not starting your day on your knees, remembering who's in the throne of your heart. Doesn't matter how much you practice, you may never be able to do all what we're talking about. So I want to leave you with that, and I want to encourage you. Come on, do it. Be humble. Practice these things. And let other people shine, let people grow and advance. God bless you. Have a great week. I hope this podcast is a blessing for you.